Welcome back to my channel, guys. Today we're going to be doing kimono two-piece. First off, I'm going to lay out my fabric, and after that I've drafted a pattern already, so I'm going to place it on top of the fabric and then start cutting it out. If you haven't seen this pattern video, I have done a video on this trouser pattern. If you like to see how I drafted this trouser pattern, feel free to watch the video. I'll try and link it down below. So after cutting out the back pattern, I'm also going to be cutting out my front pattern. So this is me cutting out the front pattern, and after that we'll move on to the next thing. After folding my fabric into four, moving on to the top of the two-piece and marking out my bust line. Then I'll draw a horizontal line. Then I'll measure from tip to my waist point as well and draw a horizontal line just like I did for the bust line. Next thing I'm going to do is to mark the length of my top. So after that, if you can see, I've added 1 inch allowance. This is going to be for my hemming. So I'll mark it again to make it look obvious. So now I'm marking my neck point. I'm doing 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. So by the time I'm done sewing, it will be 3 by 3 because I'm folding it by half an inch. So I'm going to use my curve end and mark my neckline. Now I'm marking my bust point, bust circumference divided by 4. I'm going to do the same thing on my waist, which is my waist circumference by 4. And I'm going to mark my hip, top hip by 4 as well. So now I'm going to connect my ruler. Because we are doing kimono short sleeve, I'm just going to use the rest of the fabric for the width of my sleeve, and I'm going to create my armhole and together with my sleeve. So now this is the sleeve. Now I'm going to be adding my sewing allowance. I'm using my ruler to connect from the length of my top to the sleeve. This is how we get kimono, and I'm doing this because that's the size of fabric that I have and I really want it spacious. I'm making use of what I have available. So I'm going to be cutting it out. Guys, don't forget that you can do what you like by tweaking it a little bit, by making it a little bit less baggy or even more, because the fabric will drip better. For most kimonos, they usually have openings in the front, but I'm not doing that. I want mine closed, so you can tweak yours if you like. Guys, I'm going to get a smaller size fabric and fold it into 4. This I'm going to repeat the same neckline. This is because I'm going to be using these pieces to turn my neckline inwards. So I'm going to be doing exactly what I have in front as the neckline. After that, I'm going to measure 3.5 inches around. So measure 3.5 inches all around it. So please make sure that the center front there is no opening both on the main fabric and on these pieces. If not, you have an opening at the center front, so make sure that you're folding in a closed end. So I'm going to mark out that 3.5 inch. You can do more or less. This is just to tape in the neckline. Now you see the purpose of what we just did. So you see that's just to hold in the neckline. I'm going to unfold our fabric, and you see that's the neckline for. So you see there's no cut on the shoulder. So I'm going to place this on top, and then I'll hold it down with the pins. If you see, I've hemmed around it. Now we're going to sew it. I'm going to open it up slightly with my scissors. Please avoid cutting on the stitches. This is to allow the neckline to lie flat when you've turned it over and iron it. So I'm just going to trim the excess. And here is our neckline. I've pressed it down. See how nice it's looking. You see, I interlocked the inner fabric just to make it look nice. And this is the front and the back. See how nice it's looking. So now we're going to be interlocking the sleeve, and then I'll fold it in and stitch it down. So I'll be using my gum stay. So I'll cut it into two. After doing that, you see I've interlocked the end of the fabric. So now I'm going to put down my gum stay. This is to hold in the hem. So I don't want to stitch on it because I want it to be really nice. That the hem is done, I'm going to stitch the sides. Moving on to the trouser, I'm going to be stitching our center front and our center back together. I'm going to do this for both pieces of our trouser. So see how neatly done. I'll stitch the back. This is the back, and I'll place the front on top of it, and I'll go and sew the sides together. So now I'm cutting the band of my trouser. I'm using 4 inches because I'm going to be folding it into 2. So the white fabric on top of it is my air stay. This is just going to give the fabric a bit more structure after I've ironed it on the fabric. So this is my band. So I'll place the air stay on top of it and iron it and see how it's looking. So after ironing it, I'll fold it in like that. So I've done the ironing and see how structured it's looking, and this is going to be a band. So I'm going to be taking out 1/2 inch from the waist, and I'm going to slant the line and then trim it out. This is just to create that curviness on the waistline. So now this is our band. So with this is our trouser. I'm just going to turn it out. So you see I've interlocked every end of the trouser. I'm just going to turn it out, so that's what it looks like. And that's our band. So I'm going to join the band to the trouser, and after doing that I'm going to add the zip as well. Now I'm just going to stitch on this. So this is the finished look of our band after being attached to our trouser. See how nice it's looking. I'm going to move on to the zip. I'm going to be measuring my zip allowance, which is 1 inch. Make sure it's 1 inch, and then I'll hold down my zip with my pin. This is just to allow for easy stitching of the zip. I'm just going to go to my sewing machine and stitch down the zip. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. I'm almost done with the zip. I'm just going to close it. Look how nice. So now I'm just going to hold this point down. See how I've held it down, and I will double stitch on both ends. Guys, our zip is done. Now I'm going to work on the hem. So just like I did for the top, I'm going to use my gum stay to hold down the hem and then iron it very well. See guys, this to actually make this hem stay very well, even after you've washed it, you need to use an invisible stitch to hold it down with your hand. So I'm avoiding stitching on it because the fabric is delicate. So moving on guys, I'm going to be embellishing the top with some stones just to make it look a bit more nice. So I'm going to be stitching on some stones on it just to make it look nice, guys. Beautiful people, this is the finished look of our kimono 2 piece. See how nice and clean it's looking. So if you really enjoyed this video guys, please don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up and engage. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you on the next project. Bye.